Hi, today we're going to talk about bedding. There are three main types of bedding that are commonly used with hedgehogs. So we're going to address them as the three categories. Fabric, which is fleece, is the most popular, which is down here. Shavings, or a type of pine or wood product, which is here. And then finally paper products, which could be a fluffy paper that expands, a processed paper, or a crinkle type paper like this. So starting with the fleece, there is no perfect bedding. So one of the downfalls of fleece is that hedgehogs like to burrow. So a plain fleece liner does not provide burrowing options. So you will need to provide toys, dig boxes, things like that to keep your hedgehog active and to fulfill the need to dig and burrow. And we'll talk about that in another video. One other disadvantage with fleece is in the burrowing is I like to line the fleece like this so it is held down in place so the hedgehog doesn't burrow under it and go potty. Either if you have a liner under the fleece, it'll get in between that. So like an old towel could be a nail hazard. In this case, we put an old towel down and then put the fleece over it and hold it in place. If the fleece is just loose on the bottom of the cage, then the hedgehog will burrow under it, pee and poop underneath there, and since there's nothing to absorb the urine and feces, then it'll make a big mess. So pros and cons of fleece: it's reusable, it's easy to come by, it's soft, lots of benefits, but you do need to take some precautions when using it. The next type of bedding is a paper bedding, and there are two main types that I'm familiar with. This one expands. This is KT brand, Cozy and Clean, and expands 3 times this size. So it becomes fluffy. You do want to layer it in the cage so it has a good amount of space to dig and things like that. One of the downfalls with this type of bedding is hedgehogs act like Velcro. So the bedding sticks to your hedgehog. When you pick your hedgehog up, your hedgehog relaxes, the bedding falls all over the place. It does provide digging and burrowing opportunities, which is great. It's absorbent, which is great, but again, it acts like Velcro and it can make a big mess. The same way with this type of bedding, this is what I use in my nest boxes. The girls like to make nests with it. It's fluffy, it's crinkly. You can put that in the bottom of the cage, and that's super easy to use when picking them up because it clings to them and it doesn't make quite as big of a mess as this type of bedding does, but it still has a little bit of mess, but I like it that I can pick it up with my hands. So in this type of cage, if you're using one of these two paper beddings or shavings that we'll talk about, there really isn't a lot of room for a litter pan. So one of these beddings might be a good option, or in a bigger cage where you do have a litter pan, it might be a little bit harder to litter pan train because there's not a significant difference between the potty litter area and the burrowing area, especially if you have your litter deep. Next topic, highly debatable again, is the shavings, and I'm going to show you a close-up of the shavings. Over the years, I've been doing this for about 24 years now and raised rabbits long before that, so I've been using shavings most of my life with my animals, and there is a huge difference in quality and type of shavings. So some people have access to fresh shavings directly milled. Those are not safe. The phenols, the strong odors that you're smelling that smells good to us is not good for the animals to have in their face. Also, you want something that's kiln dried. That will help take out the phenols, the moisture, and several other things. So also another downfall is that these type of beddings can be dusty. So the reason I've landed on this particular brand is that it's very fine, very filtered, so I don't have a lot of dust, and I've not had problems with mites or things like that, but it is not perfect, and so there may be some challenges here and there. But why I like this brand too is you can do a Google search for it. You might be able to order it in at your local hardware store. It's very cost effective. My price that I pay is $7.99, and it does go a long way, and we'll give you a close-up of what those shavings look like. So downfall is that, again, the hedgehogs act like Velcro, so when you scoop up the hedgehog, the shavings stick to the hedgehog and it does make a big mess. However, they can dig, they can burrow. It isn't as fluffy as some of the other types of pine. So you don't have as much burrowing, but you could still use something like this, like we do, to complement that, to give it a nesting type of material. But always watch for anything that is dusty or suspicious or even damp, because damp bedding can cause fungal issues. And the dampness might not come from the manufacturer, but simply where it was stored or how it was handled between the manufacturer and you. So those are the 3 types of bedding: fabric, paper, and wood. There is nothing perfect, so you need to find what works best for you.